All right, Coach, it's been a pretty eventful offseason. I guess overall, just the excitement of coming into this season, finally a game week after a solid month and change of working with the boys. I guess take me through what this past month has been and how the team's been coming together with the time that you've been able to spend with them.
Well, first of all, I think it has been kind of a different spring, different summer. I think the excitement level coming into the season, the start of school was at a high level. I think our captains are our two senior captains and the senior class did an unbelievable job in the spring and summer of just kind of reestablishing our culture and the way we want to do things on a day-to-day perspective. And so I give Hutz and Melly a lot of credit for just getting the team ready for the kind of work that needed to be done here in the early part of our season. And since day one, I would say that I think our work habits, our energy, our commitment to each other to get to a certain level has been real good. I've been very pleased with the way they go about their business. I don't know what that means yet. Obviously, we haven't played any games, but I think in terms of how we've structured the fall here and the preseason, the guys have responded very well, and I sense a very enthusiastic, energetic group that likes coming to the rink every day, and that makes it fun for all of us. And that the passion and the love for the game starts to kind of come out a little bit, and and then the execution and all those things start to come into play. And it's been a lot of good days, and we're excited to play here.
Does a lot of that energy come from the fact that you're predominantly another young team?
Yeah, I would say yes and no. I think we're young in the fact that we have some new faces, but they're a lot older than some of the freshmen we've had in the past. I think Grudes is the only 18-year-old, and we have two post-grads that are new faces. And I just feel like even back in the spring, when we left them, it was starting to be a different type of locker room and a different type of attitude. And again, I have to give credit to our two captains in our senior class. They're the ones that were pushing the guys, were having the meetings and things like that to make sure that we're setting the stage for when the new guys came in. They were coming into a good environment.
Some of that change came on your coaching staff. How have you seen them impact your team?
Well, I think first and foremost, Coach Beal and Coach Menino have done an excellent job of, hitting the ground running, and we needed to finish off our recruiting. So that was a main priority in the spring and early part of summer. And I think once we got that under control and started looking forward to the future in recruiting, we were able to start kind of diving into how we were going to be as a staff and, the things that we were going to do collectively as a group of coaches to, one, inspire our players, two, probably the most important was to develop our players, and then obviously create a certain process for us to eventually get to win some games. So I think every week we've had a checklist of sorts that we've tried to hit every day, and it's been a lot of fun. We added Dean Stork as our director of hockey ops and Ben Eves as our performance and wellness coach, and I think the five of us get along really well, and we all want to do well, and we all want our players to do well first and foremost. So it's been a summer of change, but I would say probably in the last month or so, it's felt very comfortable with everybody involved.
With the new coaching staff, how has your personal style of coaching adjusted?
Well, I think sometimes as you go through the years and you understand the type of coach you want to be and what the guys are like and what your locker room's like. For me personally, I had to do a lot of evaluating this summer and, maybe take a step back and just get back to what I believe in as a coach and what I believe in as a teacher of these young men. And I think maybe just going back to some of those things has been very important to me, and just making sure that, again, we're inspiring them and developing them and keeping that in the forefront of what we do and what I do. And I think having the new coaches, it's an opportunity for me to teach them what the style we want to play and things like that. So it's been a lot of fun for me because I have to be on point, and they're very good at challenging me and bringing in new ideas, which is great. And I think that helps all of us grow and continue to grow. And the freshness of everything has been very, very good for me on a personal note.
You just mentioned a little bit ago about the checklist that you've had coming into practice. What has been on those checklists?
Well, I don't want to give away all our secrets, but things like making sure that we connect with our team and our relationships are really good. I mean, we're the brotherhood. That's something special. That's something that is really important to us. And the main part of being a family is the relationships you have with your players. So making sure that we're connecting with them on a day-to-day, on day-to-day perspective, and making sure that we're prepared. Making sure that we're not leaving anything out, that we're detailed, that we're focused. If we're going to tell your team that to be detailed and focused and passionate, then you better be all those things. And so just kind of modeling the way of what we want and what our culture is supposed to be like. And, sometimes when you get into the heat of the moment and things aren't going your way, you get away from the things that are really important and the basics of good human being, values and good, good work. So for us, it was really important to remind ourselves of that. And, the other thing is we tell our players to hold themselves accountable. We have to hold ourselves accountable as a staff as well. And if everybody's on the same page and everybody's bought in, then, we can move forward and get better every day. And that's really the kind of the checklist that we have. And we do it after every practice. We have it pinned up on our wall and in the coach's room. And, and I know the players have their own checklist. So it's really important when you talk about the culture of this brotherhood. It's about daily behaviors. It's about team dynamics, and then ultimately about accountability.
After all of that positivity, how do you react to the preseason poll that came out? Is that affecting your attitude at all?
We've been picked first, and everybody's been wrong. So I think for us, that's not a surprise. But I will tell you that somebody asked me that question last week at Media Day, and I basically said, well, good luck picking a winner in our league. There's a reason why the coaches don't have a coaches poll anymore.
There are a lot of new faces on this team and also a lot of faces missing this season. What are you hoping to accomplish with these roster changes?
Well, obviously, the changes, some of them, they were decisions that were personal decisions that they had to make. And, and so we had to go out and recruit things that we needed when those departures happened. We had a guy sign NHL contract, and he's on the roster right now. So that's a big void that we had to fill. And to me, every piece that we've brought in, every player that we've brought in is here for a reason, to play a role. And that's when Peter and Joel and I sat down and tried to kind of piece together our team and what we were going to be like and what our identity was going to be like. Those are the type of guys that we tried to bring in. And from what I've seen so far, I'm pleased with what I see. Now we got a lot of work to do. Don't get me wrong, but I think the focus that we had as a staff and what we've seen and what we brought in will accomplish that at some point.
You mentioned the NHL, and then you were also talking about how Melnick and Hutton have been such leaders for you. And I read last week that Elliot Friedman reported that several NHL teams have been interested in Hutton. Do you feel lucky to have him back, such a sought-after player, playing for you this year?
Well, I think in today's game, when you have a senior or seniors that could sign and decide to come back because, of everything that their teammates mean to them and what the program has meant to them and, what, the academic part and the academic piece is very important to them. I think and that's not to say the guys that sign don't feel that way, because they do. Everybody has a personal decision to make, and we support all of our players in any decision that they make. But with Grant, Hutton, and Josh Melnick, they had chances to go too, and they decided not to. And they're the ones that really, with their seniors, the guys that are left, especially Soroki and Laval, I think those guys have really kind of helped restructure our team and have been really important pieces to what we're doing right now. And there's been a lot of NHL teams, but now that's over. And now we're going to focus on playing the games. And for Josh and Grant, the most important thing is their teammates right now and how we're going to play and how we're going to practice and prepare on a day from day to day.
So your two transfers obviously have a lot of experience in collegiate hockey. How have you seen them interact with your leadership core?
Well, I think it's, again, it was part of the plan to try to not bring in 10 freshmen. We want to have some experience. And I think with River, the defenseman, he adds depth to our lineup and a guy that's played, at the Division I level. I think he's fit in nicely with the type of characters that we have in our locker room. And I think he's quickly become the music guy. I don't know how that happened, but that was, I think he just did it himself, to be honest with you. But he's the music guy, so he's got a role in the locker room, and we're not going to get into what kind of music they're listening to, but with Jordan, we thought it was really important to bring in some experience in goal to help Larks just push himself a little bit, and somebody that can come in and take some minutes. And he's just the same as River. I mean, his character and his attitude is always upbeat. He's chirping all the time. He was chirping me on the ice the other day. I have no idea what he was saying, but I'm like, "Are you talking to me?" And he's like, "Yeah, you got to play better defense." I'm like, "I don't even know what you're talking about." But he's always involved, and he's getting the guys going. And I think that energy and that perspective that both of them bring to what we do here and how we do things is really important. Because sometimes when you're in the fire and you forget about how good it is and how special it is. And I think those guys coming from different programs and seeing how we do our business and seeing the things that we have here, I think they're able to relay to our team that you don't take things for granted, and you should come to work and you should come to the rink with a smile on your face, and you should work hard because this is pretty special. And so a lot of good things have come bringing those two guys in.
Do have a couple of games this weekend opening up against Alabama.
Oh, we got to play?
What do you expect to see? Obviously, it's their first games too out of them. And I guess on the larger picture, what are you most looking forward to seeing out on the ice from your team facing somebody else for the first time?
Well, after all these years, I don't try to predict what's going to happen on the first weekend. I do know we're excited to play. I do know we're playing a team that's going to be just as excited to play. And a team that plays hard. I watched a little bit of video on them from a year ago. They got some guys that can play, and I happen to to know their head coach and their assistant coach very, very well. Their assistant coach I coached in junior hockey, and we went to Denver together. And Gavin Morgan and Mike Corbett is a guy I played against, and eventually ended up being an assistant coach at Denver. And he was a junior and a senior the 2 years that 2 of the 4 years that I coached there. So I know they're going to be ready. I know the type of people that they try to recruit. I know the type of game they want to play. We are not going to be surprised. I've preached to our guys to be ready to go because it's going to be a battle, and I think it's going to be good for our team to see where we're at and then work from there.
Last year, you always emphasized the process and then play with and without the puck. Is there anything new you've added to kind of your checklist?
The game hasn't changed. You have to defend well, and you have to be able to generate enough offense to win games. And when you don't have the puck, you got to get it back. And when you do have the puck, you got to keep, and you got to make good decisions. And I think there's different schemes and things like that. We can talk all night if you want about hockey, but at the end of the day, you got to make some saves, you got to score some goals, you got to defend, and the process in doing that never changes. You have to win battles, you have to compete, and you've got to be focused on the little things. The game is fast, and I told the team today, Saturday's still a long way away, and we got some work to do here before we get there. And to be present, to be focused, and to get better every day.